Hey guys, what's going on? It's RogerDeath here, and this is kind of a solemn thing. And I planned on doing this last week, but things changed. So in the background is the stuff from actually it's 2 weeks ago's Cranium's WatchGuard stuff. This will be the last video on it you will see on this channel, and I will get into why. The reason I'm using it is I don't have any from this week, and again that'll be explained why. So let's start at the beginning. This is kind of a wrap up of my thoughts of the game, the DM, how everything went. So, first things first is I liked playing this. Do not get me wrong. I would enjoy still being there. I really enjoyed the game. But I had issues with kill. And since I'm not part of this campaign anymore, I don't mind not mentioning it. I'm not going to hide the fact that we couldn't get along when I think probably most people could notice it in the videos. But I want to explain something. I want to explain why and go over why it's basically forced me to leave. Um, what happened was, if you've noticed, I've always been kind of the rule guy in the game. Kill didn't really know the rules with DMing really well from the beginning, so I've kind of took over as head rule person. I'd look things up. I would understand. I used my knowledge of the game as it was. Did I exploit it? Yeah. I mean, that's inevitable to happen. If somebody doesn't know the rules, you'll always have somebody that's going to exploit that. It's just part of the way the game goes. Examples where I did was with my sword throwing thing. I should only be able to throw it, I think, 5 feet. 10 feet, I think, is the range. 10 feet is the range increment for it. So, there's that. But he used the rules in his own ways, too. The most explicit one I can think of was back on the boat in episode 9, I think it was. This was session 10. Session 9, I don't remember which episode. It was one of the ones where we were on the boat fighting the Vikings, and stuff was being thrown. The bombs were being thrown over at the Vikings' boat, which had become our boat by the end of the camp of that session. So it what ends up happening is that he decided that for this time only, basically, splash damage would only happen on squares outside of it. Okay, I can kind of see that. But the entire 5x5x5 cube was now the explosion, and everything, and the other 5x5x5 cubes surrounding it in all 8 directions. Actually, it'd be an above and below probably too, given the way he went with it. In basically every direction, would take splash. There's one problem with this, is that that's not how explosions work. Real life or not, magical or not. That square is the only something right where it hits is supposed to get the full effect of the blast. Stand next to a grenade, you are going to get shredded. Stand 5 feet from it, and you are going to be badly injured, but you're not going to be near as shredded as that guy that was standing on top of it. And that's because you are right at the source of the explosion, instead of back where the explosion's more decentralized. So that was one thing, and that's I was kind that. If you noticed, I was kind of irate in this last session, and that was because I felt my opinion was being ignored. That, and it was by the group as well as him, but he basically tried to make it so that, yeah, we had to work with him. As a party, we were basically forced into that decision because of the ways he presented things. Yeah, he might have rolled really well. He might have rolled terribly. I won't ever know. I'm going to just assume that he was truthful about those rolls because it seemed like he really was not happy about the way it played out, which means to me that that wasn't something he had wanted to happen. It came about as a consequence of the rolls. Um, but on the boat, he gave. There's no way that they would have wanted us to kill a dragon. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. Nor, for that matter, uh, would them being so willing to work out an agreement. You know, 90% of people in the world, when a theft like that happens to them, they'll either do something about it themselves and kill the guy that took the stuff, or they will go and get the captain, or the guard, or call the police, or you know what I'm getting at. So I don't necessarily think they were even in character with that. Um, I just was not very happy about it. It's like, oh, of course I'm gonna be against it. This is an evil act. No, it's not. It's just chaotic. No. We even had a discussion about that later, and this is where things really got it. We spent I spent an hour trying to convince him, or even make him see light of the fact that taking something from somebody else is inherently an evil action. Stealing isn't nice. It's not good. So, why is it only chaotic? It basically came down to him trying to find any way around it as he could. And that hurts. As a DM, you need to stop and listen. You need to analytically think based upon the evidence that is presented to you. If somebody says, "Oh, it should work this way," and they can provide a compelling reason why, you know what? Maybe they have maybe they should let it happen that way. If you've got multiple people reading the rules and they all see it differently, then things start getting a little weird. If everybody has a different opinion on the matter, then you have to take it into account. But it was just me in that, and he was basically trying to find any way he could to discredit what I was saying. If I had that recorded, I would play it now. But you know what? So I've said in the past, I will leave, and it turned out I didn't need to leave. We worked things out, but it didn't work that way this time. So I said, you know what? Fine, I will leave. I'm obviously not getting along with you for this. This isn't working out. Everybody else is still enjoying it, so don't end the campaign. Because that was another thing he offered up, was that he was just thinking about ending it. Because I'm just not having fun. Everybody else is having fun. I'm the only one that really wasn't, and you're going to stop the whole thing because of that? That doesn't make much sense. Um, but so, I say I'm going to leave. And this was Friday, I think, the day before we were supposed to play. So I was thinking about how I can have Leon leave and everything. Because I said I was going to leave. I stuck to it there because this was something I felt I really believed in, that kill could not be reasoned with. I mean, for example, the other reason why is, let's look at what happened at the in-game loot when I left. Because it's all I really have to base it upon. I had been told that I would be getting a cool sword. And because Feed and I, that's the guy that plays Magnus. Why did that shrink down? That was weird. I must have caused something to happen. But Magnus and I'm gonna refer to him as Magnus so that you guys know actually who I'm referring to. He and I are basically the only two characters that have been there from the beginning. Obviously, Remy, who played Alpha and Suko, both casters in our group, has been there from the beginning, but he's used two different characters to go about it. So, there's that. But we were the only two characters that had been there from the beginning. We were kind of the last two, and yet, proportionally, Our gold was lower than people who had just joined that week or the week prior. It was wrong. That's not something you do. You want to keep those people that have been with you and been playing, you want to keep them on so that they want to keep staying, keep playing, and they don't get screwed. They feel like everything that's happening is fair to them. Not a bunch of bullshit. So, obviously that was remedied this week for Magnus. Because he got the bonus. He got that ring of key. That's 25,000 gold worth of stuff in the ePathfinder system. 25,000. I got a cold iron bastard sword +1. That's worth about 4,000. And the only reason it's even worth 4,000 is because, for whatever reason, on cold iron equipment, enchantments are worth double. It makes the item cost more. But the actual so I got 4 grand of stuff, but oh look, there's 25 grand there. There's the Ring of Evasion, which is useful only for people that make reflex saves, and I've made it twice, both against rocks, and both times I critically succeeded. So I didn't take anything anyway, due to house ruling, or DM ruling, or whatever. So it wasn't useful for me. So obviously it's for somebody else. Okay. I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't really give a shit anymore, because I've left. But so I was ready to leave last week. That would be the 5th of October. For those of you watching this, I am actually recording this the day that I'm supposed to be playing. They are playing, I should say. But yeah, so what's going on is, I'm sitting in the game waiting for it to start. I'm not in the call or anything because I'm only going to be there for a minute. I told Magnus, I'm just going to keep referring him to Magnus. I told him to add me to the call. Next thing, I'm playing Crusader Kings over here, or Borderlands or something. I was playing something else on my main monitor while I had the game in another tab on the other window. And all of a sudden I hear the rolling music. Oh, okay. So they must be, I wonder if they're ready to play. Why are they back at the city now? Because we left off here, basically. We left off at this screen. After our loot had happened, we left off at this screen. So what happened? I mean, like, I've been waiting to leave, right? That's the whole reason I've been paying attention to this. I was ready to leave. I had everything planned out. I was gonna have Leon give up most of his stuff to Magnus because he's the only person he actually believes in and trusts, and because they've been working together for a long time. Obviously, they're the only ones left from the original party. He'd keep a bastard sword, and he'd go help out the people on the island. He would basically help make sure that they don't die and everything. He'd keep his armor, keep just a regular bastard sword, nothing fancy. He wouldn't keep that one that he just got that was basically just a cop-out. And he'd stay there. He becomes an NPC, I have no control over him, I just leave the campaign effectively. Well, I asked Kill, what's going on with my character? And I'm actually going to quote you exactly what he sent me, because I've still got the Skype log here, in addition to having saved it to show thee, Magnus. How do you leave, tired of watching people in your party do crimes, and give some gold to Magnus as a friend's goodbye? It's exactly what he told me. The problem is that, let's go back a couple sessions. I believe it was session 3 or 4. I don't remember which one off the top of my head. I didn't look it up. But it was the one where we were going towards That second city we were in, the one where we met the other rogue. The first other rogue. The Tavlin, the half-demon thing, the Tiefling thing. We were on their way, and our rogue, knowing he needed to leave the campaign, was able to play out what he wanted his character to do to leave the campaign. Kill didn't even let me know they started. Kill didn't even ask me how I wanted Leon to leave. He just took it into his own hands. So I call him on this, and he responds back, "I'm going to be fair here. If I had you trying to leave without GM intervention, you would never leave." I got pissed at that because we discussed this, that I was going to leave. So my exact reply, again, I'm reading this exactly out. I was going to. I already had everything planned out. But fine, we can do it your way. No point in arguing about this anymore. You win, I lose. As basically what it came down to was one person's will got enacted over the other for a completely arbitrary reason. And I don't know if it's because I've been playing too much Crusader Kings 2 or not, but I like using the term arbitrary. For those of you that aren't familiar with what arbitrary is, it's where you make decisions on a whim, how it suits you. It's theoretically the opposite of just. At least that's the way it's represented in Crusader Kings 2. I don't know if that's how it is like for everything, but that's how it is there. So he responds back, "And that's why I don't like you." Okay. I ask him why. It's gonna be a wall of text here, so I'm actually gonna pull in I'm actually gonna show the text and read it out. I just gotta add it in. I didn't do it because I'm dumb. And I have to be careful about what I select because I don't want the title to be shown. Because I'm very unhappy about this. So I'm pissed. So here's the chat log. Here's everything that was said the entire time. This is going to be basically my final words with Kill. I'm probably going to talk to him later, but it's going to be a lot of unpleasantness, probably a lot of swearing, probably a lot of cussing out, probably a lot of bitching, and I don't really want to foul up the videos with that. So the part where we're at is this right here. Because you decided to take the decision out of my hand and I called you on it. That's why he doesn't like me? No, because I see everything as win or lose. This was a case where I legitimately didn't have a say in anything when I should have as a player. And, like I say, I already told him I planned on leaving. It was a win-lose because one of us got our decisions enacted, the other didn't. And it's basically comes down to win-lose. Who got their will? That's who won. Who got what they wanted to happen won, which was Kill. He didn't even, like I said, he didn't ask me of it. And then because of this, I don't even know what that's in relation to. Maybe this up here. Or this. I don't know. So, that's our falling out. That's why I am leaving this campaign, is because I can't get along with the DM. He could not manage to successfully give items to a fighter, one of the easiest people to manage in a campaign, saying, "Oh, there's really nothing I can give you that won't break you completely." So riddle me this: how do your everyday DMs do it? Probably by not starting people out with exorbitant sums of money, not having, 12k being put into a single suit of armor by the 10th week. That's usually a pretty big deal. Yeah. He said he couldn't get me any new armor because all I'm going to use is my full plate. Gee, I wonder why. Could it totally be the fact that it's the best armor you can get in the game? And he said he couldn't give me any other type of weapon besides a bastard sword because I won't use it. I have to give him this one, that's true. But there's a reason for that. If you've been following the campaign along, you'll know I've been using a custom class. This custom class is called the Sword Savant. I will pull that up onto the screen as well now, so that I can show you guys what it's all about. So we're going to remove that. Oh, whoops, moved the wrong thing. We're going to remove that. And this is kind of a rough pulling into the thing. So here's the Sword Savant custom class. It exists on D20 PFSRD, and it is in the custom creation section. I don't remember who made it. Atrelius Lab, which doesn't actually even show up over here anymore. Maybe if you go let that load up. Anyway, so it's here. If you just search for Sword Savant, you'll get two ones. It's the technical address is Sword Savant-2. Sword-Savant. You get it. So the biggest thing with it is, I actually lose health out of it. Fighters have D10 health. I have D8, so I lose that. I get more class skills, kind of. I get some different ones, and I get more skill ranks. Trading health for skill ranks isn't necessarily the best thing to do, but whatever. I gain will saves and a bunch of different specials. I don't gain any extra proficiencies or armor. I technically should lose. I don't lose heavy armor, but I wouldn't gain it if I took this first. So the Soul Forge, which is what I've been using to summon and disappear swords, is basically allows me to store sword into my soul, is what it basically is. If it breaks, I get it back 3 days later, completely fixed. But Blade Focus gives me a +1 to attack and damage with all slashing bladed weapons. This is the big reason why I used it. I was using swords, and a bastard sword at that. It's a slashing bladed weapon I can use in 1 or 2 hands. Couple that with the swordsman training, which I've been using for a level now. I use the single-edged sword training, right? The Savant understands how to use a blade with both hands, utilizing the full strength of his body. After 2nd level, he adds ×2 strength bonus to his attack damage. It actually doesn't even say if you use it in 2 hands anymore. So I could be... Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll use the... So, I used my sword in 2 hands. So I dealt a lot more damage. I went from... Because I only used it in 1 hand in the shield before this. Once I hit that 2nd level in Sword Savant, I started using a heavy. I started using it in 1 hand, no shield. Or 2 hands, no shield. So I went from doing 1d6... Or 1d10 plus 6, 5 for my strength, 1 for the bonus from this, to doing 1d10 plus 11 damage, just from leveling. That's a pretty good increase in power, but monks do it all the time, to be fair. It's built into their class. To say nothing of the Brotherhood of the Seal Prestige class, which is what Magnus is actually going to end up doing sometime down the line. So really, that's all I've done. I've done this. So would I use other weapons? I mean, a greatsword, probably not, because obviously Magnus hates them. So no, I'm not going to use that. What other ones got to use? A scythe, which is inferior damage. On average, it does 4 damage as opposed to 5 damage average with a bastard sword. It's got a high crit modifier, ×4, but it only crits on 20s. So it's effectively evening it out. I crit twice as often with the bastard sword, for half as much, basically. I don't even know what other... There's really not many other weapons he could have given me. I mean, he could have got me, katana, maybe. the various samurai sword stuff. Like, let's look. We want to look for type S here. So let's see, what could I have gotten? Brass knife, daggers, a hook hand. These all do basically no damage, right? None of these do slashing, so they don't even make sense to use. No slashing, no slashing. So if we look at martial weapons, slashing, we're not doing anywhere near the damage that I can with any of these slashing weapons. They're all inferior. One-handed melee weapons, let's see, slashing, inferior, slashed it. So, I mean, this would be cool if it weren't piercing. That would have been an acceptable one, but it just doesn't work out. Two-handed melee weapons. Now, this is where he could have given me other items from, but let's look. A Falchion, 2d4, 8 pounds, slashing, extra damage multiplier. This could have been an acceptable one to give me. That would have worked. A bill wouldn't have. Yeah, it's got the D8 but in time 3, but it only crits on the 1. A Bardiche could have worked. A Bardiche basically would have been the same. Plus it's got reach. A Great Axe could have worked. It does extra damage. Loses a crit, but does extra damage on the crits. Glaive Gorzamine. You know, there's all these things that he could have given me. Look, halberds, Guisarme. There's plenty of things he could have given me that he didn't try. So I'm going to, I mean, he could even give me exotic weapons. Make me basically forced to use a feat on them. You know, like I basically already did with the Bastard Sword. To use it in one hand, you need the exotic feat. Otherwise, if you use it in two hands, it's only martial. A Khopesh I could use. I mean, there's plenty of things he could have given me. He just didn't try. Let's look at this. A Foucard. Look at this. This would have been an amazing weapon to give me. Reach. Weighs 10 pounds. Weighs a little bit more. Still stored away. Extra crit range. Extra damage. Elven Curve Blade. Okay, it's technically an Elven property, so I could use it by default. There's plenty of things in here that he could have done, but he didn't try. You can give me weapon. You can give me bows, enchanted arrows. There's other stuff that he could have done that he chose not to. You know, and then there's all this other magic stuff. Let's just look at the wondrous items alone, to say nothing of the other stuff he could have given me. But basically, it came down to he didn't know what to give me as a fighter-styled class. It's basically what I was. He couldn't figure out what to give me. I had all of these slots open, except for the belt. Because that was the, let's see, belt. Because that was the heavy load belt. All these other slots, he could have given me stuff. He didn't try. He decided to say, I cannot balance you in this campaign. Here's some shitty equipment to keep you behind and make everybody else be able to do tons more damage as the campaign goes along, while you might slowly do an extra 1 or 2 damage. Cool. There's a trope on tvtropes.org called Linear Warriors Quadratic. Let me try that again. Linear Warriors Quadratic Wizards. The idea that wizards start out terrible. You don't even let me. It's just completely terribly done because I'm totally unprepared for all of this. I think the video's ended. For that matter, so you just get to stare at a screen. But I want to kind of emphasize this point. The Linear Warriors Quadratic Wizards. That's this. Right? So let's look at this chart over here. This is your level. This is your power. So wizards start out jack shit, right? But holy mother of God, they become stupid powerful. Fighters start out stronger, but they don't scale near as well. They're going to be less useful late game. And you can find this in a variety of different sources. We're going to just look at the, we're not going to look at literature or anything. We're not going to look at mythology. Tabletop games. Look at this. The actual point at which wizards overtake fighters is somewhere between level 1 and level 5. So, what? So, basically, I was actually going to be less useful farther on. Okay, that makes sense. The wizards are designed to be more powerful as the game goes on. Fighters are just really strong early game. They're basically designed to be late game tanks, early game damage dealers. Wizards are early game shield me while I actually become powerful to war god status. Because this is not lying. They're going to go off this chart pretty quickly. Min-maxing and munchkinning. Same thing. You're trying to get the most powerful character that you can through some combination of traits. And I mean, you're just like, every point has you have a plan for this character from level 1 to level 6 billion. Where every stat, every gold piece that you get has something planned for it. So traditionally, what's that? Wizards are more powerful? So, if Kill couldn't... oh, look, let's see. Has attempted to solve this problem, but has raised its own issues. Oh, look at that! I was kinda already weaker than him. Because he had a super powerful ranged attack. Suko could just obliterate people from range. He could cast spells that make it so that, oh look, we can actually win fights that would have been difficult. But he couldn't properly balance a warrior. A fighter class. Holy shit. So that's why I left. A lot of lamb blasting at the DM. And there's a reason for that. Because I feel he needs it. This is maybe his first time DMing, but this is a classic principle of role-playing games. So much so that, let's look at how long this thing is, right? I'm going to do a page down, and this is on a 1680 by 1050 monitor. Ready? Watch this. Page down. Takes 3 page downs, to get to the end of the tabletop game section alone. Let's not even look at video games. This is just going to go on forever, man. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. There is history of this. And he couldn't manage to balance a fighter class. I was being held behind for no real good reason. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. Regular content will resume on Monday where we have some more League of Legends stuff. I've still got a few of the all-for-one games to go. Those are pretty cool. And Crusader Kings 2, some are more historic playthrough. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'm really having a hard time not recording to the end of the game already. I've already got like episode 12 recorded, so I've been playing a lot. I really enjoy it. It's a really good playthrough. Issues are going to start coming up soon, though, I think. This first succession is going to be a bitch, and it's going to be difficult. So until then, guys, this is RogerDeath, signing off.